Welcome y'all to the welcome y'all to the Reality or Not podcast with your boy DJ Reality and your boy Eddie Williams. Hey man, how you doing today?
I'm all right, man. What about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Just chilling, enjoying the weather, even though it's a little rainy, but it's a little bit cooler, so it works out. Um, how's everything with you?
Everything's all right with me, man. I can't complain.
Okay,
Mm,
cool.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, we'll jump right into it. We do this thing. It's a special album series where we talk about albums that considered classics that may have had a huge impact or have had huge impact just on hip hop in general, but may have impacted us as well throughout the years. So the album that we're doing today is Aquemini from OutKast. And that's it. Ed, what are your, just before we even jump into track for track, what's your feelings on this album?
Uh, it was a good album. I liked it. Probably, probably their. I guess probably their best album. Not like I was trying to look through the track listing. No, I like it. I don't listen to it as much, but it's a. It's not a lot. For some reason, I don't listen to Outkast a lot.
Hmm.
But it was a. As I looked through the track list. It was a dope album. It was definitely a dope album. What about you?
It's good. I go up and down with this album. I like the album. I think it really starts off on a good foot, but then I think it kind of slows down or it goes up and down rather than having like the consistent um, flow that AT Aliens or Southern Playalistic had. But at the same time, that's what kind of shows if you listen to I feel like this album really distinguishes or separates Big Boy from Dre. Like it really
Yeah,
shows this. I think this is the album where people, even though I think it was starting to show on AT Aliens, but I feel like this album was really kind of the even from the title alone, Aquarius and Gemini combined together. But yeah, this is one of those albums that, like I said, it's a great album, but I put this album, like, as far as my favorites, it's probably the most solid album that fans could digest,
right.
without having a particular flow that could push away certain fans. Like it's certain, like even all of the singles. I think the one single that I liked was the art of storytelling, but then at the same time I was like, well, you know, I could be right or wrong, but why put Slick Rick on it? I mean, I get because Slick Rick is a storyteller, but I feel like they
Right.
already had the chemistry already going within the song, so it just kind of felt like a added thing to the song rather than and it could have been them just being a fan of Slick Rick and saying, well, this is where we kind of got the storytelling energy from. But
Right. Right.
it sounds like Skewered on a Barbie. I mean, I felt like that was more to target, to include East Coast fans and stuff like that, where it felt like Outkast or the South was fighting for visibility. And not to say that this song failed, but I didn't think it did that. It might have, because I heard it on like a mixtape, one of the East Coast driven mixtapes. So maybe that Raekwon feature was what got them on there. I don't know, but I felt like Outkast always stood very strong by themselves, along with
Yeah.
Goody Mob. Because I honestly, at one point in time, Outkast and Goody Mob were interchangeable to me as far as like my favorite groups at the time.
Okay.
So,
Got you.
so how do you compare this with their original, or not original, but with their albums preceding this and then their albums after this?
Hmm. Never thought about that. I think it was a combination of the first two. I don't know. Their first four albums, they're all like sonically, they're all like different. Like I
Yep.
don't. It's hard to. I don't know. In some ways, it's hard to compare them because they're different albums. It's almost like whatever one is your favorite probably is based on which one probably appeals to you like more sonically. I think um, like I said, I think in some ways, you kind of started seeing more of that separation between Dre and Big Boy, as
Hmm.
far as I guess like their rhyming styles to a degree. Drake went the more, I don't know if you want to call it eclectic or route or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But Big Boy kind of, to me, Big Boy just stuck to like, that Southern Pimp shit.
Right.
And they're just spitting or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I think like this was. I mean, this was the third. I think their first three albums are pretty strong. I think after that, like I think because after that you get into
Or Stankonia.
Stankonia, which wasn't bad, but I don't think Stankonia was.
It had too many interludes and too many. I feel like that album was where they, not to say that they weren't recording together like that, like a Tony situation, but I feel like
Right.
that was where you saw, and they really showed it on Love Below and Speaker Box. But I feel like Stankonia was that I'm going this direction, you going that direction, but we go record songs together because we a group.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No, I think this album was probably the pinnacle for them.
mhm.
Cause no, to me, like I get it that the Love Below Speaker Box was the name on it is OutKast, but it really is two different albums by two different artists at
Mhm.
that point. Like, so it's hard to. I don't know if I'm ranking OutKast albums. I don't know that I put that in the rankings. Just 'cause I think they're two different. Like they're it's not a it's two separate albums put together as one.
Mhm.
Um, and so like I think Aquemini is probably like the pinnacle for them.
Mhm.
Um, Stankonia was like a step back. Like it wasn't like a necessarily a dramatic
It
drop
wasn't it
off,
wasn't terrible, but it
but it
just
was yeah.
not to say it was even a hard. It was just it was a. It's funny when I look at that album. I look at that album as a album. It's the album that has the best album cover, but it's not the strongest. It's not the strongest album from them. It's like if I had to rank the albums, I put that one last, even though it had some pretty good songs on it. But you
Right.
had songs like even. I don't want to go too deep into that, but you had songs like was it uh We Love These Hoes, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And We Love These Hoes didn't have Dre on it, but it had Big Boy and it had Gip, you know what I'm saying? It had the crew on it, but
Right.
then I mean, even going to this album, me re-listening and trying to revisit some of the tracks, and or the album in general, but listen to a song like Slump, like Slump didn't have, Dre or Dre on it, but and I'm like, well, shoot, because I don't know who the two other, it might have been, someone within or a couple other members within the Dungeon family, but they're uncredited. But just listening to that song and the flow of it, because it's a good song, it has a good flow to it, but it's like, well,
Right.
not necessarily where's Dre, but I didn't realize it back then that they're picking and choosing the songs that they're on based off of maybe the flow of the album and stuff like that.
Got you. Yeah.
So, and one thing I noticed too when listening to this album, I think the song Aquemini really shows, like, I want to say their career, but it shows because like if you listen to it from the beginning, like Dre or Dre kind of has like this chill flow, and
Right.
then Big Boy jump in, does does the Big Boy, but then Dre comes in and does like this stellar ass verse. I think it might not Return to the G got the hip hop quotable, but like the verse at the end of Aquemini, like for Dre, is why you see Dre featured on everybody's song or on other artists' songs. And these are the type of verses that he's giving them. He's giving them these heat ass verses, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But then you'll see him, not to say take a step back because the verses are still good, but when he's in his lane, you can hear how great he is as an artist and why everybody wanted him to quote unquote go solo. I was okay. Like the difficult part about him going solo is like we talked about with Speaker Box and Love Below, is that it's like I don't know if it's like an A&R thing, but like you let artists be who they are,
Right.
but at the same time, it's like, well, like you see, like I love Love Below. It had to grow on me, but that wasn't what I wanted initially from Dre.
Right. Yeah.
It really was a slow burn for me to be like, okay, well, that shit was actually pretty dope, but and the same thing that I went through with Miseducation from Lauryn Hill. Like, I wanted more rapping out of that, but I didn't get it. But I still think it's a pretty good album. But I think the difference between the two is I liked listening to Below Below. I didn't really like listening to Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, even though I thought it was a pretty good album. It just wasn't what I wanted to hear from her. But I grew to like what I was hearing from Dre. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But so on the landscape of music in general, like how do you feel like this album impacted? This was 98. How do you feel like this album impacted the hip hop industry versus I want to say versus their other albums, but I'm saying versus everything that was 98. So you look at 98, right? You got DMX, you dropping the two albums. You got Jay-Z dropping volume 2. You have Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. You have a lot of albums that are shit. I mean, I ain't gonna say I like it as a classic, but I say you got Nori, NRE. You got the Camerons. You got all of these hip hop. You almost are ushering. You got the Locks. So you got the new regime starting to come in within hip hop because OutKast dropped with 94,
Right.
and it's like now OutKast is they're on their third album. Like, how do you think it fit within the landscape of hip hop at that time?
I don't know. I mean, see everything. So I think '98 was like a pretty much like East Coast centric year. Like I think it was one of those probably the standouts from because it wasn't an East Coast album, but it was still dope. I think it was. But at that point they were Outkast, so they got the respect that they were dropping an album. Had people enjoyed it, but I think like
When that the year that it dropped on the same day as Jay-Z, or was that
yeah,
volume 3? I
nah,
thought it was
I
volume
think
2.
they yeah, no, I think they dropped on the same day twice. I think they did it with Stankonia in Volume 3 too, maybe. But I know this one definitely because this came out, I think, in September, like the last week in September, third or
Mm-hmm.
fourth Tuesday in September. Um, yeah, so I mean, I think like I don't think it like I mean I think that was that stretch of 97, 98 to like the early 2000s was like kind of heavy on East Coast. So I don't know that it, but I think it broke through in that. Like I think the fact that it stands out as like people consider a classic album. I think it was. I mean, I think it's probably a testament to it that it was able to make noise,
Mm-hmm.
even though a lot of stuff at that time was East Coast. Like you said, you got Jay, you had Nori, you had Cameron, you had DMX, the Locks. Like it was a lot of
Rough Riders.
yeah,
I mean, it was a lot going on at that time as far as the music, and I can easily see Outkast getting lost, not necessarily lost in the shuffle, but
yeah,
that was a dope part about the album was that it didn't get lost in the shuffle. It was still revered because I remember hearing Scooter on the Barbie like mixtapes and stuff like that, and like I said, I don't really hold that song in high regard. I think it's a good song, but it just felt like it was kind of targeting the hey, you're gonna listen to us because
right,
this has this type of music to it, or this has Raekwon on it versus like, and even I'm not a huge fan of Rosa Parks, but it was a song that I felt like I don't know, I can't say what these niggas is going through in the studio, but I felt like it was a song that they wanted to do,
right. I got you.
So, and that's always like a big thing. Like it's always the difference between finding what I want as a fan versus the artistry that the artists want to provide me. And like I said, every landscape isn't going to be the visual that I want to see, but I felt like they gave us what they wanted to get out of the best production from them two working together.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
now one thing with this album, how do you feel with the production style? Because this is an album where they started to do a lot more production on their own. They did maybe I want to say 2 or 3 tracks on the on the AT Aliens album, but then
Right.
this album was, and I had listened to an interview with Rico and Rico Wade, and Rico was saying, this is kind of when they wanted to kind of do their own thing, and he wasn't happy about it, but there was still, I mean, it wasn't like dissension amongst the team, but it was kind of like he liked giving them a certain organized noise sound. Like organized noise produced on here, a lot of the tracks is produced by Mr. DJ of Organized Noise, but I'm just curious on like the production style, like what's your feelings as far as production style with this album versus, and like I said, it's always OutKast, in my opinion, is that group that I don't compare because it's my favorite group of all, or my favorite duo of all time. I can almost put them favorite group, but I was talking to Brian about this yesterday, and I was telling him how NWA was the most influential group in my life in general. But
Right.
how do you feel as far as the production styles, changing in this album? Because you had a pimp and damn near a philosopher on the album cover. So what's your feelings on that?
I mean, I like the production. I think it seemed like it was a lot of like, I don't know if it was live instrumentation going on with it. I think it was I don't know. It's kind of hard to. I don't know. I can't really think of the words for it. I mean, it's the thing. I mean, the thing to me about
But did
all
you
of
like
that
the
album.
pacing of the album? Were you like,
I did, like you said. I think there were probably at times there were some ups and downs in it. I think like, um, I think it's some. I'm looking. I think I know Spotty Oddie Dopalicious was pretty much an instrumental, which wasn't different from what they had done on with Crumbling Herb necessarily on the first album. But
mhm.
I seem like I remember Liberation kind of having a long
That shit was
musical.
probably about I want to. Let me look at it, but I want to say that shit was probably like 5 minutes long, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and like
So,
I'm trying to remember about Chunky Fire. I don't know. It's one of those things. Like it's like you. I mean, for me, sometimes I don't think about this album a lot, but then it's like
mhm.
when you listen to it, you're like, it ain't that. It's not bad. Like I think, but I think to what you're saying, I think maybe um I'm thinking about the production of some of these songs. I don't know that I want to say like
Like, so I'll give you
it
an
wasn't.
example, right? So I think Slump like really has like that organized noise sound, but then you
Yeah,
have a song like Return of the G. I think they produced it actually. I got to look at the production, but it'll be a whole different. But I like Return of the G.
yeah,
I probably like Return of the G. I'd like Return of the G more than I like Slump. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if
mm,
it's because Dre's on that one and he's out on the other one. But I like their traditional production versus like their newer production. But it'd be songs like the art of storytelling too, where it's like they recorded, I don't know, like in a vocoder or whatever, and it sounds like if you listen to Art of Story 1 versus the Art of Story 2, it's significant different. Like the Art of
right,
Story 2 is more the organized noise kind of vibe, but then like Art of Story 1 is more the organized noise vibe, but then like Art of Story 2 is something totally different. It doesn't even sound like a story, if that makes
right.
sense.
And now I got what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. At times, sometimes it seems like it maybe lacked cohesiveness. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Not like not that's completely horrible, but I don't know that the I don't know that it flowed as well as the first two albums did.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, but it
It
was
was
almost
still a
like
great album, though.
yeah,
I think.
it's like
Yeah, I mean, it
yeah,
doesn't take away from the greatness. Like it's weird. Sometimes, you mentioned the cohesiveness. Sometimes, and like I like a night like the most cohesive album I've ever listened to, in my opinion. I probably got some other ones, but just thinking off the top of my head is Brown Sugar. Like it was
mm,
10 tracks, every track. Like I felt like that album was perfectly synced as far as a quality album. Like that's the first time I've ever. And don't get me wrong, I'll say My Life was a perfectly synced album. You know what I'm saying? But then it's tracks like um even though I love the song, but the title track, My Life, kind of changes the energy of the album. I think it's like number 5 and number 6. Like I think number 5 was that Keith Murray interlude, and then number
oh
6 was My
yeah,
Life, or somewhere around. It's like number 5 and 6 and number 4 and 5. But I just remember listening to the CD, and my whole energy changes on how I feel towards My Life just because of where we were going with the album. And it's the same thing that happened with, and I think it's still a great album, but I always say like One Day It All Makes Sense by Common could have
mm,
been considered a classic album if it was synced correctly. I
Yeah,
just didn't feel
definitely.
like it was. I felt like it was all out of sync. And I was like, okay, why is this Daylight song over here? Why is the why is this song over here, etc. It just didn't flow as
It didn't
much
flow.
as communist or was it communism? No, that wasn't the name of Resurrection.
Resurrection. Okay, yeah.
So, but it's stuff like that's really important to me. This album cohesiveness at times can be separated. And I think that's separated because of the artists, not because they're not good songs.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. So
So
yeah, it was cool. The production was cool though. It was just I think what you're saying, like some of this them branching out into their own, so you kinda you hear that song. But like I said, Return to the G, I really did. I really like that song. It was just, but it wasn't the production that I guess used to seeing. We're used to hearing from them. I should say.
hmm But since you mentioned it, I mean, I don't think we need to really go into the interlude. It's only like a minute or so, and it really didn't. The interlude didn't. It's weird,
Right.
back in the day, it was either your interlude was hidden or not. Like I feel like Jay-Z did the best interlude ever. And I mean, you can have your opinion about it, but I feel like Jay-Z literally did the best interlude ever on was it volume 3? I think it was, where he had
Oh,
the bootleg had
version.
3 parts to it, but
Yeah,
then the album ended up having 2 parts.
yeah,
But that was like the best interlude I've ever heard to start an album because he was spitting on it, So, but this one just had people singing on it, and not to say that anything's against that, but I was ready to hear some OutKast, so I jumped right into Return of the
Return
G.
to G. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's your feelings on that song?
I mean, I'm not really like the song. It's probably one of my favorite songs on the album. I think it was a strong way to open up the album. Like I think the beat was kind of hard. I think they, um, both of them were rapping kind of aggressively on there.
hmm
Well, I said it probably is like, well, I won't say it's my favorite, but it's one of my favorite
Yeah.
songs on the album.
That's definitely the one. It's weird. Like, and let me ask you this question: are you still doing the CDs to your nieces and nephews and stuff like that? Like, I know you used to give them a classic album. Like, has Outkast ever, like, whether it's AT Aliens or not Spodioti, but Southern Playlistic, or this album, or I want to say Stankoni is a classic. I really love the album. I think that album covers the best album. Like, I got it on a T-shirt, all that stuff. But
Yeah.
like, literally, like, has this ever been the album that you considered giving them to them, or have you given this album or given any Outkast album as one of the classic albums that you provide them?
Yeah, I gave him AT Aliens. That's the one. I think I was AT Aliens was probably like my personal favorite,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I went with that.
Okay.
Um, I mean, I mean, between it was it was a. I was trying to figure out, it was 2015. I don't remember the whole process, but I'm sure like the three of them, the first three were all in consideration.
Mm-hmm.
But I like AT Aliens to me was just the one that was I like kind of like the minimalist production on there. Like it was the one that I liked the best. And usually when I'm kind of picking the albums for them, it's usually going based on my criteria.
Mm-hmm.
So probably if I would have went for what was probably the I guess the commercial
Mm-hmm.
what commercially was seen as the best album, I probably would have went with Aquemini. I don't think I would have went wrong, but I just prefer ATA
Yeah,
Alien.
no, and that's dope. Like, this is dope part. Like, these are why I like having these conversations with you. Like, I feel like I have a certain connection with you as far as music. I feel like I don't feel like, I mean, don't I was telling Brian about it, because I was telling Brian, like, well, I wouldn't mind doing Southern Playlistic with him. And the only reason I told him that is because we used to ride around to that, like, in his Cherokee, what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
literally like there's a connection. But then, when I'm talking, like, I mean, not to say Brian doesn't, like the hip hop thing, but like, I feel like we went through stages within hip hop of understanding music. And it's like, it's always intriguing to see, like you said, AT Aliens was the one that you identified with most, but Aquemini is the more commercially accepted album within that. And it's just always, you know, a lot of people can't separate the two, can't understand that music isn't like I told you, OutKast is my favorite group or my favorite duo in general. But I can say that Stankonia wasn't hidden like that, you know what I'm saying? And you understand that, you know, but you know, some people are like, well, you know, Stankonia did da 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 or you know, like no, like, and that's why I like having these direct conversations with you, because it's like there's no bias to say, well, and that's why I asked the questions like, you know, how do you think it fares up within the year 98? Because 98 was a crazy year for hip hop. And mind you, this is coming off of Biggie dying in 97, Pac dying in 96. So it was literally, where are we going to go from here, and how do we, you know, control the energy? Because New York had such a stranglehold on music at the time that it was like, well, I mean, it was hard to get the 8 Ball and MJGs, you know, a look, or it was hard to get UGK a look, or it was hard to get, you know, these Southern artists a look. And that's just crazy. Like with OutKast, I feel like OutKast, like I haven't seen too many people, like artists in general, that say that they weren't, at least from the South, that could say that they weren't influenced by OutKast.
Right. Yeah.
You know what? I remember. Was it Feek would talk about Magic Mike, and I'm like, nigga, where the fuck are you getting these Magic Mike CDs from, nigga? It was like, nigga, that nigga had multiple Magic Mike CDs, and I'm like, nigga, like, what the fuck? But you know, like, not to take away, you know, from, you know, what he got from it, but in general, like, I feel like OutKast was that for me, where it influenced my thought process. It was a line that I was listening to Skewer from the Barbie. I'm like, damn, that was dope as fuck. And like I told you, I don't even like Skewer from the Barbie, but I was listening to it. Not to say I don't like it, but it's just not one of my favorite songs. Like I literally skip it whenever I get to the track listen. But it was a line on there. He said, the words that you live by. He said, these are either the words you live by or the words that you die for, Dre. And I was like, damn, like, you know, like, it's just the way that, you know, they say things that I identify with, you know, just as a fan, and then as a, you know, the way that I maneuver throughout life in general. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I live for what I live by, my words, you know what I'm saying? And if those words are the words that are the death of me, then it is what it is. But it's just like when I'm listening to this album, I'm like, okay, this album to me is growth. And Return of the G is me listening to them go back and forth. And I want to say this is probably the track that Big Boy is probably not the most comfortable on, just because of the pacing. Because Big Boy is kind of a, you know, like he goes a little bit faster, blah, blah, blah. He's kind of like, not to say that he's a speed rapper or anything like that, but he just raps to the beat. So if the pace is a little bit more up tempo, like Big Boy's going to kill it. If it's a little bit slower, then it's kind of like his verses are a little bit more choppier, but it's still dope.
Yeah, that makes sense. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So we jump to the next track. And Organized Noise produced that one. Like I said, I've always loved Rico. I need to look that up, but I mean, it's crazy that, you know, he died at like 53 and shit. I'm like, God damn, you know, because he had a documentary that was out about. It was a documentary on I don't know where it's at now, and shit. It probably, you know, just I want to say go to the backlog, but it probably just end up disappearing. But I remember it premiered on Netflix, and it was, you know, it was the Organized Noise documentary, and I'm like, damn, like it's certain when he said Up on Hand and Dandelo or something like that. And I didn't know what the fuck them niggas was talking about. And me listening to this album now, living in Atlanta, you know, it sticks out to me more as far as the stuff that they were saying, as far as, you know, different parts of the city. And stuff like, you know, we used to take the MARTA through the hood, you know, but that was on, you know, AT Aliens. But hearing stuff like that, I'm like, damn, the MARTA train, you know, I'm not even identifying, but relating to these dudes, you know, they were, I want to say, they might be the same age, if not like a year older than us, you know, because I know they came out pretty young. I want to say they came out when they was like 16 to 17, and I was 94. So I want to say Dre's no older than 49, you know, if that, but I look at their ages, but these are dudes that I could relate to. They were doing it through music. I was doing it through education and living life in general. So, um, but jump to Rosa Parks, produced by OutKast. What's your feelings on this song?
I mean, it was cool. I mean, it was I don't know. It was cool. I mean, this was the first single, right?
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
"Skewered on the Barbie" was their street single, and then
Okay.
this is the one that that they released to radio. But "Skewered on the Barbie" got some rotation, college radio and stuff like that, and then this was the follow up.
Yeah. No, I mean it's cool. You know, it had the catchy chorus to it and everything. I vaguely remember the video. I mean, it was alright. Well, I mean, it wasn't a bad song. It was. I don't know. It's one of those to me like you see like this is a Dre track. Like this is a
Mm-hmm.
like really influenced by Dre like that. Just that I don't know, kind of like that. Just I don't know, say weird, not weird, but eclectic shit that Dre does. Like just
It wasn't typical Outcast like flow
yeah,
to the. It wasn't like an organized noise track. It was literally them. Like I said, I really, like I said, this is one of the songs that I probably don't like the most on this
yeah,
album, but it's one of the songs I respect because that's what they wanted to do, type of thing. It's almost
right,
like even like I can equate this to listening to the Love Below album, and I was like,
yeah,
I didn't want I didn't want that from Dre, but that's what I got from Dre, and I eventually liked it. You
right,
know, so it's just one. It's just weird, like me listening to this album. Like the one thing that's dope about Outkast, in my opinion, is whenever I'm listening to, uh, um, whenever I'm listening to one of their albums, it makes me want to listen to another one of their albums.
yeah. That's true.
So,
Yeah,
and that's just dope to me. Like like it's only so many artists that do that. Like I have within my bag, I got Outkast, I have Jay-Z,
yeah,
then I have Nas,
mm,
and that's or I'll say Wu-Tang too, because I was listening to the Supreme Clientele too. This well, it came out Friday, but listening to that album it was like, man, let me just go listen to Supreme Clientele,
right,
because not to say I wasn't liking the album, but it's just kind of like, let me see what I what I really liked about this album, because I really like that album a lot, type of stuff. But Outkast literally makes me want to listen to their catalog, and you can see the growth between the two, from the first album, the second album, the third album, and that's dope from you. We had mentioned that a second ago, as far as you giving them the AT Aliens album, because that was literally them like starting to show who they were as artists and trying to prove it.
right.
Because it was a song on here. Was it skewed? I think it was on Skewed on the Barbie with Dre or with Big Boy, and we had jumped to that track, but where Big Boy said we want to go and get our other half of Mike back for Southern
Oh
Playalistic,
yeah, yeah,
and it's kind of like damn, like they're listening, because I think there was an interlude. It was either on Skewed on the Barbie or interlude for Rosa Parks. They're talking about like, oh man, y'all y'all listen to the Outcast, like them niggas was on some spaceship this year. They
yeah.
was
Some
on some
pimp shit.
pimp player shit or
Yeah,
this shit and whatever. He was like them cats. I thought them was your boys and all that stuff. And
yeah,
it's like always unique to hear like an artist hearing what the rhetoric that's being told about them, but then them giving you the music that they want to provide. And that's always just dope as fuck to me. It works for the most part, but
hmm,
in my opinion, I can, and you may feel a certain way, a certain difference about this, or indifferent opinion about this, but it like with not Erica Badu, but what's her name, Lauryn Hill or Mos Def. I feel like they could they could have had less, not less artistry, but they could have literally had someone point them in the right direction to give them the album that I wanted to hear. Like I said, they don't know what
yeah,
I want to hear. I mean, but at the same time, I want to hear more rapping from Mos Def. I've always, and this is a kind of a sidebar, but I always felt like Talib gave me more of what I wanted to hear from Mos Def than what Mos Def gave me.
yeah. That's true. Yeah,
So
yeah. Most was I don't know, man. That artistic stuff, man. It kind of I mean, I get it. Do what you want to do, but it mess some of y'all, mess
That
some of
doesn't
them
mean
up.
I don't have to like it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, like
and-
it's like you got the ability to like really like spit. You wanna, I don't know, you wanna do some of that weird stuff, and it's like, man, you gave me black on both sides. Like,
yeah,
and
you gave
now
me a
you,
dope ass album that, and mind you, I was anti-raucous at the time. Like, not, I want to say anti-raucous, but I was anti-backpack, and
mm,
raucous was the backpack ass niggas at the time.
right,
And I know, and the only reason that I was anti-backpack was that I wanted. I never. I feel like we were starting to segregate. I don't like segregation in general, but we were starting to segregate music to say either you like the backpack or you like the commercial stuff.
right,
And it's like I didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I like the Feral Munches. I like the Mos Def. I like the Talibs. I like all that stuff. But I never like you think about back in the day, say 94, I was listening to OutKast. I was listening to Nas. I was listening to Wu-Tang. I was listening to MC8. I was listening to Redman. I was listening to Spice One. I was listening like it wasn't in the whole, and we'll jump back into it, but it wasn't me separating the music based off of
the
where
reason,
you was
or
from. Like
right,
I mean, I was listening to Dog Pound just as much as I was listening to Jizza. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like, and that's just what it is. And I always mention this, but I remember one time I was trying to figure out, should I buy the Jizza or the Goody Mob album, because they came out the same day in '95. And my guy, he was like, man, just buy both and don't go out to eat so much. You know what I'm saying?
right, right,
That was freshman year of college.
yeah,
I was like, well, shit. I guess well, he said pretty much don't buy. Oh, he's like, buy both and just eat in the cab for the rest of the week.
yeah,
And I was like,
yeah,
okay, cool. Well, shit, I got to eat in the cab because I wanted both of them.
right,
And that's one of the decisions that it was a great decision to make.
yeah. It's two
But,
dope albums.
right. So, but what's your feelings on Skew It on the Barbie?
I mean, I liked it, but I got what you were saying. Like, I think they went to get Raekwon to like, which at time, I mean, like I said, we just talked about how like '98 was so much like dominated by the East Coast. Like it's like you said, it's your street single. You get it out there, like you said, it was on some of the New York mixtapes. Like it's probably you do it to kind of like maybe open yourself up to like more fans. I don't think it was a. It was. I don't think it was a bad
No,
track.
the beat was dope. I mean, the beat was
Yeah,
dope. They was flowing. I mean, it just didn't.
it's
I
just
don't
one
know.
where you weren't used to OutKast.
Yeah, and
To
I'm
me,
looking at it
like
like Organized Noise produced that one. Like I said, I usually and like I said, it wasn't a bad beat. But it's just kind of like, you know, um,
a little
I don't know
weird
how to
seeing them
describe
hook
it.
up.
Like, it just didn't. I want to say it didn't fit, but it wasn't. I feel like Skewed on a Barbie. In my opinion, I could be totally wrong. Now, I mean, I'll let you say what you got to say, but I think like it felt more of the was it like I'm trying to think like Goody Mob Black Ice
Mhm.
feel. If that
Gotcha.
like it's on that type of
I see what you're
energy,
saying.
but it's
Yeah.
not at the quality of what Black Ice was. Like Black Ice is literally one of my favorite Goody Mob songs ever, and one of my favorite Dre verses ever.
Yeah.
But it just didn't feel like it felt contrived and kind of like this is what we're doing to get this. I mean, to get people to pay attention to us. And I never felt like Outkast had to ever do that. I feel like if you listen to Elevators, me and you know, 96, that wasn't a typical Outkast. I mean, you had before that song, you had um Players Ball, you had
Get up, get out.
Get Up, Get Out. What was the song after
Hootie
that?
hoo.
Hootie Hoo. But I mean, it was like the singles and stuff like that. Like you hadn't heard anything like Elevators. And
Right.
when I first heard Elevators, I literally remember I bought it. I bought it like this one record store, Metro Music in Paging, in East Lansing, Michigan. Like they literally sold the CD early to me to get it. I think I paid $16.99 or something like that. But I wanted to have it. I remember having the transcript and all that stuff like downloaded
Yeah.
from might have been all hip hop or something like that. But like just
Okay.
download. It's just weird that like back then it was a thing, but
Right.
it didn't feel like it felt like a not a separation from. it like Elevators was different than what OutKast had gave us, but it was still dope as fuck as a
Yeah.
song. And
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
feel like they gave me that with Skewered on the Barbie, Rosa Parks, or the Art of Storytelling. But I do
Right.
feel like they gave it to us on Return of the G. You know, like
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah.
whole different energy. Like I wouldn't expect Return of the G to be a single, but that's the type of energy. If I not to say that they're the same song, but like if I was to get out, like if OutKast did if the OutKast did Spodioli Dopalicious as a single, I'd be like, damn. But I love look, I play
Yeah.
Spodioli Dopalicious more than any song off of that album. Like when I'm DJing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like literally, I don't like I like if I'm like, but it's usually a vibe song. It's not like I'm playing it
Right.
in the club or party or stuff like that. But shit, I've played Dopalicious at weddings. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like
That's,
just as a chill song, and everybody be like, damn, 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 damn. You
mm-hmm.
know, like they automatically into it, which is dope. But yeah, I don't not to say that this wasn't a club driven album, but I play Elevators. I play Players Ball. I play what's this? I can't even remember they had another single outside of Players Ball and Get Out, but it was in between the two. I just can't remember
Was
the
it
name of it.
Southern
But
Playlistic? The title track?
no, it was I think it was like track number 4. I can't remember offhand. But all that being said, I used to play let me look it up real quick. Let's see, because they had a video for it too. I'm looking at it right now. Wait, what is Southern Playlistic? Cadillac freaking music. Did they have a video for that one?
They did.
Okay, so it was that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember playing more. You know, I play those songs, but like I play Spodioli Dopalicious more than any other track I play on this album.
Yeah, makes sense. Like I said, it's a nice little vibe song.
I really feel like they had another song as a single though.
What else? Get Up, Get Out, Players Ball, Southern Playlistic. Look at the track
They
list.
didn't do one for Ain't No, because I definitely play Ain't No Thing more than anything.
Yeah, I don't remember that being a single.
It definitely, I don't think it was a single at all. So,
yeah, I don't know.
Cool. All right, well, we jumping to the next track. What about Aquemini for you?
No, I like it. I'm trying to remember it.
Aquemini was like Dre starts out the verse, Big Boy comes in, and then Dre comes back in. My mind after 10, only win some. This is the hardest shit since MC Ren, or whatever. That was like that flow. Like that's why I said like that track. Like he started out on a different flow, and then he changed the whole verse, and this is where, you know, like this is why Dre gets added to people's songs and stuff like that. So
right. No, I mean it was a dope song. I mean it was. I liked it. It was a dope song. I'm just trying to remember how it went because I didn't really get a chance to.
When the sun goes down,
album.
eventually niggas die. They're just some out the lie. Some ask why. It's him and I, Aquemini.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It felt like it was a. Probably if you want to tell somebody like what the vibe of the album was, I mean, this would probably be the song that you would give them.
Yeah, that's a great.
But yeah, I think
that's a great way to define that. Like literally, this is the this is the song that is the vibe of this album.
Yeah, like just with the beat, the rhymes, and all that. Like I think it was. Nah, it was dope. Like it ain't a whole lot to say about it. Like I said, I think it, like I said, like we just said, like it was a great example, like what this album was about and everything. I think what they intended to do, like even where there's somewhere you might consider a misstep like Rosa Parks or Skewed on the Barbie. Like this song is the one that now when they went into the studio to do bless you when they went in bless you to do the Aquemini album, this is probably like the sound and the vibe that they had in mind, the what they want the album to be about. So now I think they did a good job with it.
Yeah, this is my favorite song on the album.
Yeah.
Return of the G is number 2. This is what you call it, wishful thinking. If like this is me enjoying both of those two go back and forth, and I would love to have an album of Aquemini 1 through 15. This is me as a fan getting what I want to hear from them, and this is what like a lot of people don't realize this, right? Like, what JC say? He said, if you want my old shit, buy my old albums, type of shit. Like, this is equivalent to that, right? Like, this is me watching them go back and forth with their chemistry, and they really. It was a song on Stankonia, and it was almost like it was the because people like this is one problem I have with music, right? People attribute certain things to certain artists, but other artists were doing it. Like they'll say, "Oh well, Jada and Styles go back and forth very well." Dre and Big Boy, in my opinion, go back and forth the best. And they were the ones that were. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was other duos and stuff like that, but I feel like their chemistry between the two, they're not. I would say that they're the best at it, but there could be others. But hearing them go back and forth on the track, and this is like one of the ones I'm like, okay, they're going back and forth. And like I said, they do it on this song, they do it on Return of the G. Like I said, this is a song on Stankonia. I think it's called Spaghetti Junction, and and they go back and forth, and I'm like, damn, like you don't realize it, like damn, like they are literally killing it, and the chemistry between them is like so dope. But this is that song. This is that song for me that makes me an OutKast fan. Okay. This is the song that whether I like Skewed on the Barbie or whether I like Rosa Parks, this is a song. I mean, because I remember hearing off of Stankonia, what was the song? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, yeah, International
Bombs over Baghdad.
Yeah, I remember hearing that for the first time, and I remember not knowing what to do. I've never really played it in the party. It wasn't you talking 2000. I'm trying to think what was out of that. You talking Jay-Z, Give It To You. You talking it's 2000. What was Jermaine Dupri was somewhere around this bitch. Like it was a lot. It was a lot. It wasn't Bombs Over Baghdad type of vibe. But this is what like me listening to Bombs Over Baghdad. I was like, oh, because I remember was that the year that came? Was that the Grand Valley year, or was that before that when we did the concert?
You said for OutKast?
Yeah.
That was 90. That was sophomore year. Was that sophomore year? Yeah, sophomore.
That was 97 or 96?
96. Probably 97 because it was like in January or February. So it would have been.
So that was off the ATLien album instead of.
Yep. I was. Okay. Yep. So I was. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's just I was trying to equate it to. I'm like, well, and maybe I'm thinking back to it as elevators, me and you, because hell, how much did we pay for that? I think the concert was what, 10, 20? It wasn't no more than 20.
It was like $15 and you got a step show.
You got a step show and OutKast at the end. I remember seeing OutKast walk on stage, and I was like, damn, I've never seen, like stage presence and stuff like that. I'm used to seeing like artists come from a different area. These niggas literally walk on stage like they was. Yeah. I don't know if they was participating in the step show or whatever. Like not like participation like stepping, but like they literally was on the side of the stage and they walked up and started doing their thing.
I was like, yes, y'all can go on now.
So, but yeah, no, I would say with Aquemini, like that's literally it's a juxtaposition of the whole album. And I'm glad you brought that point up. Like, it's literally like, if you want to know what the album is about, you want to get the feeling, and of course it's the title track, but if you listen to this song, this is what you're going to get out of this album.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about Synthesizer?
It was cool. I mean, I'm trying to. Like I said, I didn't get this far in my re-listen, but it was it's cool. I'm feeling like this album is going that there's, like you said, they artistically they were trying something. I think whereas Aquemini, they pulled off what they wanted to pull off. Synthesizer, I feel like I ain't quite pull it off. And like, no, it's not a bad song, but it's not like a. It's like kind of see where y'all were trying to go, but y'all just fell short just a little bit, and I feel like that is what I think about with Synthesizer. Like, I don't want to say they were going for like
George
commercial
Clinton
play
on the track. They produced
that's
it.
Yes. So like you think about the features. I think before this, the first two albums, the features were like limited to like pretty much in house, like Goody Mob, Cool Breeze, like Dungeon Family affiliates basically. And like here, like you got Raekwon, you got George Clinton, you got who was I just thinking about? For like
You talking about like somebody outside? Cause I know Erykah Badu was on was it Liberation, I think?
But not even like Slick Rick, like you had said. That was
the artist storyteller.
Yeah. Like it's like it was, and great. I think George Clinton was probably more something that they probably wanted, because I think in '98, like getting George Clinton wasn't necessary. Like Raekwon, I could see where the record label goes. So you would say like, hey, we need an East Coast artist, and like maybe they, like I don't know if I feel like the record label say you need East Coast artists. We'll let you choose who it is. And they came up with Raekwon. Like, so I don't think like George Clinton was one where like maybe the record label was pressing it. But I don't know. Maybe it's just. I mean, you go with some of the live instrumentation and all of that they were doing. Like you get the point of what they were trying to do. Like you understand like that old like George Clinton sound, that Parliament sound, and everything. You got the little, got the synthesizers going off in the beat, and like so.
Like I said, I like the sound of the track, but it's almost like I want to say a throwaway OutKast track.
Yeah,
but like I feel like if I'm looking at, because I mean I think further along, I think it kind of gets to that, like with Chunky Fire and songs like that. But I really feel like this is one of the tracks that were one of the last ones that were approved. Like I said, I can't speak to it, but it was like, I feel like the thing that really got it over the hump to say we go approve it is that we paid for George Clinton to be on the track. It was like I said, it wasn't a bad song, but it was just like, was it really needed for this album? And I think sometimes too, and this is one thing we got to be careful of. Some people cape just because that's their artist, or that's their favorite. I don't cape because like my favorite artists have screwed up albums, have made great albums, have made bad decisions, have made great decisions. It's okay to say Nas has some whack albums, or Jay-Z has. Not want to say Jay-Z has a whack album, but like Jay-Z has definitely fucked up here and there with songs like with Mariah, or songs like I still remember number 5 on Volume 3 with Swizz Beatz, and I remember I was watching might have been Swizz Beatz talking about it. He was saying how that was supposed to be a single, and I was like, damn, that'd have been terrible for Jay-Z.
Yeah.
So I remember they was talking about the whole was it Volume 3 was supposed to be a whole auto-tune album talking about destroying auto-tune. And I was like, I'm glad that didn't happen. I mean, you had the Def auto-tune that worked out, but it's like, man, that'd have been terrible.
A whole album where you just like slamming auto-tunes, nah.
Just make good music, like and that's all we care about. Like I said, I don't care about the Nas album with Damian Marley, or even
Yeah,
hell, even
that's-
shit, you talk about Godson, you talk about Street Disciple. I mean, me going back and listening to some of these albums, like I say, well, I don't want to deviate too much, but it's just like your favorite art. Like Nas, one of my favorite artists. You know what I'm saying? So I'm extremely critical
right.
on Nas. I'm extremely critical on Jay-Z. I'm extremely critical on on OutKast. I can tell you, Stankonia was a good album, but it had too many skits, and
Right.
it lacked, like, this album at times lacked cohesiveness. That album, majority of it lacked cohesiveness.
Yeah, it was
So
just
that
like
was just
chaotic throughout the whole album.
yeah, it was just a damn collage of just songs. It's like, rather than
Yeah,
a nice seamless, like, you listen to, and that's the difficult part with OutKast. Like, you listen to even Aquemini versus Stankonia, like, you can literally tell, like, okay, this album had a vision. This album was Arista saying we need to get an album out from OutKast because
right.
OutKast is the hottest niggas out there. So,
Yep.
but
Let's go.
how do you feel about Slump? And I give a little bit of context with Slump. I was listening to this Big Boy, or Dre's not featured on it. It's mainly Big Boy and then some of the Dungeon Family crew. OutKast produced it. But yeah, what's your feelings on that song?
I mean, I like it. I don't think I paid attention to the fact that Dre wasn't, excuse me, on there.
Excuse
But
me.
I like the beat. I really like the beat. I like the song. It's cool. Um, yeah, I mean, I really like the beat. It
And it's
was,
funny that you mentioned Dre's not on this, nor West Savannah, the next song.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I. Cause it's been so long since I listened to this album. I don't.
Yeah, nah, I
Like
get
on a
it.
re-listen, I probably pick up like, oh, Dre was on here. It's like
No, but it's
it
almost
didn't
like
really.
you listen to, I don't know, The Chronic, and you be like, damn, Dre ain't even on Bitches Ain't Shit But Hoes and Tricks.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
Or Snoop ain't on was it This for the G's, This for the Hustlers? I think that was a song. He wasn't on. I want to say he wasn't on that one. He wasn't on. He does a little. I mean, Rage does a little intro, but
right.
he said this is for the shit for the G Funk era. Something pumping the mirror. Some, like, he does, like, throw a little 4 bars on there, but like he's
Mm-hmm.
really not on the
On
album
that track.
on that
Yeah.
track. So
Yeah. So yeah, that's how it was. But like I briefly listening to it. No, I think because I think I looked up. It said it was Cool Breeze and who was the other Dungeon Family cat? Cool Breeze and um Backbone. I don't really. I remember. I
I remember
vaguely
the
remember the
name, but
name.
you know what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
literally, but that was the dope part about music, filling in, putting people in positions to be dope. I do think it would have been better if they showed the, I wouldn't say showed the love, but at least gave them some. And um, I bought the Cool Breeze album.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
I wish I could have told you before I bought it. This is one of my. Oh, it's not one of my biggest regrets in life, but it's one of my
Cool
biggest
Breeze was
Dungeon
nice
Family
on the.
regrets.
Yeah, but Cool Breeze was nice on the features though. Like even here, I'm thinking about looking at the verse and everything. Like Cool Breeze, he had a good little flow, but like a lot of time, like some of that stuff Cool Breeze was featured on was, I mean, he
I
wasn't
like
like
he had a song called, I think, Just Like Butter. That was my shit.
yeah, like
That,
he
like, I remember literally trying to figure out, and that was the dope part about music back then. It's like you would literally listen to every song to be able to try to justify how somebody was great or not great. And I
yeah,
remember listening to that Cool Breeze album and thinking, like, damn, this is one of the times I bought a whack album.
yeah.
Like,
Mm.
it was a time, like, I mean, because that's the crew, right? You like Dungeon Family, so it's like you like OutKast, you like Goody Mob, you like that one dude was his album wasn't that good either. Doctor what's his name?
Witch Doctor.
Yeah, Witch Doctor.
Yeah,
I want that good.
on
I
vinyl.
got that shit on record somewhere.
Yeah, I think I bought that one on vinyl. It wasn't. Nah,
Shit.
but I mean, Corey's like, I mean, when you think back to the features and all of that he was on between like the Goody Mob and like OutKast albums, I mean, it made sense that he was next up, and it made sense that we'd want to buy the album. Like, I think
That nigga had one of the best singles for a
yeah, and the
Dungeon
Watch for
Family
the Hook was
artist
dope as
ever.
hell. Yeah, like, and then that was dope.
Watch for the Hook was fucking dope as fuck.
Yeah, so
and that shit lit up. It was literally Watch for the Hook, and it was just like it was something like Butter or something like that. I just remember that was like the two songs I liked on that album. And I tried my hardest to like that nigga, but I just could not.
Yeah, no, it was hard, and I think it was a clean version. Like, I don't think, like, and I don't know if he consciously decided. Maybe I have to look up on that. I don't know if he made a conscious decision not to cuss on the album, but it didn't have the explicit lyric, the lyrics like tag on it. It's not marked as an explicit album.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I gotta go back and listen.
Or at least maybe Watch for the Hook was, but I feel like the whole album, like, cause I think there are times where I try to, like, even, cause I knew when I bought the CD, it was like that, but I think even trying to find it on, well, no, it does have to buy it, but like, I want to say he didn't.
Maybe because of topics, not because of wordplay.
Wordplay, yeah. Like, I'd have to go back and listen to this version of Watch for the Hook to see if, because there were times where, like, it was like they censored the cussing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you knew somebody was cussing, you just didn't know. It didn't make sense for. Maybe I'll go back and listen to it. He got a video called Creatine.
I ain't get that far.
I don't even.
That album is, in my opinion, at that level
album.
of. You said that was another album?
No, I thought but no, the song was actually on the album. Like, I didn't.
No, I didn't like that album. I tried that. That's literally how I felt about Capadonna when I tossed that album out the window. Like, that was literally on some Set It Off. That shit whack. Get no play in my ride. Maybe it was an ego thing, but I just was not feeling like I like number 5, and I like some slang editorial. And but it's weird. That's why I tell people cape for people that they like. It was like, well, I like Kappa, but that album I didn't like. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay. Like, I feel like I feel that criticism help artists to understand, like, not necessarily you got to give us what we want to hear, but just give us something that's listenable. Like I said, I tell you all the time with the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, like, the criticism that I saw was the rapping part. It wasn't a criticism that it wasn't a good album. I still think it was a good album, but it's just something that I didn't want to hear from her at the time.
Yeah, people expected to hear rapping.
Yep, and I really do feel like that album gave her. It's like whenever you release a dope album, it's like with Nas, right? And like I said, I think Nas released way better albums than Lauryn Hill, period. But when you release a commercially lauded album like Illmatic, that it's hard from fans to say that nigga has a whack album.
Yeah.
We're like, it's okay. That was, he was dealing with his mom's death. It's like, nah, that shit wasn't good. That shit wasn't good. And it's like, I don't care about the circumstance that you were dealing with. I care about the quality of the music.
Right.
But anyway, I don't want to go too deep into that. But you got West Savannah after that. Like I said, Big Boy Dre wasn't on that one either. Organized Noise produced that one. I thought that one was a pretty solid track as well. Like I said, it's not Drake. It's some members from the Dungeon Family. Actually, that might have just been Big Boy all by himself. I'm looking at it because he's from West Savannah, but he ended up moving to Atlanta or whatever. But
but no, I was trying to remember the song. I had it playing a little bit. No, I do remember this song. Like, but see, to me, like, this one to me makes sense that it's just like the vibe of it. It's like the pimp shit. Like,
it's a big boy track for him to ride.
It's
a big boy track for him to ride.
Like it was. But see, I don't think Dre didn't have any solo joints on here, did he?
No, not at all. I felt like at this point in time, and this is where you on the outside looking in, you start to see the things. I'm like, this is a time, in my opinion, they were trying to get Dre to record. And
Like,
I feel
he
like
wasn't doing it.
I feel like it was very much a struggle within Stakeonia,
Yeah.
but like this was the beginning of like Drake trying to say, not to say he wanted to play the flute because that was years later, but saying,
He
Dre,
just
man,
want
we
to
got to
play
record this shit in the studio. Like let's get the ball going. And
Yeah.
and I feel like Big Boy was a studio rat versus Dre was kind of, he was dope at what he was able to do, but he was looking at exploring other things. I think
Right.
this might have been the time. Was Erica Badu either pregnant or already had the baby, or I think it was around that time
He was
with
on
their
the Erica
child
Badu voodoo.
come together. So and Erica Badu what?
The Erica Badu voodoo.
Yeah,
What happens to everybody? That's how we got Common's.
Koofies.
What was that? Yeah, Koofy's and what was the album with the blue cover? I think it had Come Close
but
on there.
that was 2000. That was much later. That was
That was
2000.
after Erica. That it was much
No,
later after Erica.
well, it was much later after this album.
Oh no, but I'm just saying for like Common, that was him get
Nah,
that was
that was definitely Erica Badu influence.
yeah.
But it was Erica Badu / Jay Dilla influence because this
Oh
is my
yeah.
little beef with Jay Dilla. Sometimes with Jay Dilla, it gets too eclectic.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jay Dilla is a dope producer. Was a dope producer and all that stuff. But sometimes, like listening to was it Donuts and some other stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, 35, 40 tracks, but I probably like
Yeah.
10 or 15.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, but all that being said, this was that kind of time. This is where I feel like the A&R is always important. Like
Right.
artists want to do what they want to do, but it's like sometimes it's
You
important
got
to
a
have
random
somebody help
man.
you come in and get the focus.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
definitely. But
what's your feelings on artist storytelling? We kind of alluded to this before, but I mean, we can expand a little bit more about it.
it was cool. Like I said, it's the placement of Slick Rick kind of seemed like just a, and maybe that was like another trying to put a little bit of East Coast influence on it, but then also paying homage, like recognizing that Slick Rick is like probably considered one of the best storytellers in hip hop. So you put him on. It was a cool song. It's interesting. Like I don't think the artist storytelling part two is necessarily the better song, but I like it better
Okay,
than part one.
that makes
Um,
sense. I
but
think I think artist storytelling one is more easy to digest,
yeah,
but artist storytelling two, as you mentioned, is a better song, but it would take a little bit more listens to be able to understand
to
that
get it.
track as
Yeah,
much. Like I said, it's almost like spoon fed to you with artist storytelling one versus like storytelling two. I'm listening, I'm like, oh, well, it's a vibe, but it's
hmm
still it's harder for me to like. I think Mr. DJ might have produced both of them. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
he
So it's
did.
kind
I
of,
just looked at it. Yeah, he did.
yeah. So it's kind of like, within the mix of production, like I really I like both of them, but like I said, sometimes with OutKast music, like hearing one right after the other makes it a little
Yeah,
bit, like I said, the sequencing thing or part of it makes it a little bit harder to take in versus pause versus the first version.
right. Yeah. But then I'm going back. I was like reading some of the lyrics from part one and everything, so it's kind of coming back to me. No, it was dope. I mean, they was telling their story. Like I mean, it was dope. No, it was dope. It was. Uh,
This is finding the difference between the two. Like if you even listen to the stories, Dre was he had a nigga chick named Sasha Thumper, and I was
yeah,
like, damn, she died and shit,
yeah,
like shit was dark as fuck, but like it was still a dope ass song.
yeah. Nigga just
So
going one way with it. Yeah.
right.
Um,
Well, cool. Well, we go do part two. We still got to finish the rest of the track listings. It's like a little bit past time, but appreciate you for being able to jump on, Ed. We'll continue to talk about part two the following week, and then we go from there. Make sure you like, subscribe, sign up for or leave a comment, whatever you want to say. We don't give a shit. It's cool. Thank you all for listening. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
All right, peace.